Well, tonight the aftermath continues following that deadly shooting involving ICE agents in Minnesota. Newly obtained video from ICE agent Jonathan Ross's cell phone camera shows the moments leading up to when he fatally shot Renee Good in Minneapolis on Wednesday. Meanwhile, anti-ICE protests continued for a third consecutive day here in Buffalo, also across the country. Good evening, I'm Scott Levin.
And I'm Mary Alice Demler. Protesters first gathered outside Buffalo Immigration Court before moving to a vigil in front of the ICE Buffalo field office downtown. 2 on Your Side's Nate Benson has more on the story. Nate?
Yeah, good evening, Scott and Mary Alice. As the community protests the shootings in Minneapolis, a bill being proposed in Albany would prohibit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. About 100 people gathered Friday night for a third day of protests and a vigil for Renee Good, who was shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis on Wednesday. The shooting has sparked protests across the country, and here in the Queen City, one of the reasons why people are turning out is a concern about escalation.
It could happen in Buffalo, I think, is part of why we're here. Renee Good was defending her community, was standing for her neighbors when she was murdered by an ICE agent, and we don't want that to happen in Buffalo. It shouldn't have happened to her. It shouldn't happen here.
The shooting has a lot of people at these protests and at home asking a simple question. What's next? I
think it's we need a humane immigration policy. We've needed that for a very long time.
In Albany, a bill has been floated around to legislators since 2019 called the New York for All Act.
That's a piece of legislation that I've been proud to support since it was created.
And it, quote, prohibits and regulates the discovery and disclosure of immigration status, prohibits police officers, peace officers, school resource officers, probation agencies, state entities, state employees, and municipal corporations from questioning individuals regarding their citizenship or immigration status, and regulates the disclosure of information related to immigration status. In layman's terms, it prohibits local law enforcement and municipalities from cooperating with federal immigration enforcement.
Our local law enforcement is burdened as it is. It is stretched thin. It's got enough on its plate. And any sort of use of local law enforcement to aid ICE is truly, and more often than not, just pandering of elected leaders.
Assemblyman John Rivera says that law enforcement cooperation with ICE is not widespread in Western New York.
But there's certainly parts of this state where people do not feel safe. And even if you are citizens, and even if you are a permanent resident, people are still at home thinking that if they drive through certain communities, they might be apprehended. And you know, there was a time where people maybe dismissed that and thought, oh, that's just paranoia, but no, we're seeing it happen.
More protests are scheduled in Buffalo and North Tonawanda over the weekend. On Your Side, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.